And whose team is this? Is this your team, or is this your daddy's team?
Thanks for listening to Dad Mode Podcast, Common Sense Parenting in a Politically Correct World. Here's your host, Andy Carlson.
Welcome back to the Dad Mode Podcast. Who's your daddy? Common Sense Parenting in a Politically Correct World. And I'm your host, Andy Carlson, at Andy Carlson Show on Twitter. I'm a father, and I got no idea what I'm doing, but you don't either. They're chief. So let's try and learn something together today. And the website, dadmodepod.com, Twitter at dadmodepod, or just use the hashtag dadmode. We're on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, all that other crap. It's fantastic. Now, today, joining me is Miss Amiga Loca, Di Murphy, on Twitter at Di Murphy MN. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Now, Di is my partner in crime from Andy Must Die, weekly Minnesota sports talk show, and it has kind of morphed into parenting talk leading up to the wife ejecting or deporting little Muggsy from the womb of nations.
That's really a kind of an ugly way of describing childbirth, Andy.
Well, yeah, they say that childbirth
you do get to that point, though, where you're like, just get this thing out of me.
Well, they say that childbirth is magical, and I watched the whole thing, like completely did not turn away, and it's like Omaha Beach, man.
I had 2 C-sections, so my husband actually got to see like my entire insides. So
see, I think that would be worse because, by the way, you can swear on this one. It's actually almost encouraged, but it's almost when it's a natural birth. It's as a relatively young man still, and you spent the majority of your life, just chasing and worshiping that little area and building your entire life around the pursuit of
that area.
The little area. It's amazing how it can expand, and a human being, like the circumference of like a large bocce ball, can just push on through, and then it goes right back.
Yeah, no, I'm
Hopefully,
not sorry that I missed that whole process. I'm totally fine with my C-section scar, and the fact that my children have really large heads only makes that even better, that I didn't have to go through that.
Well, and plus you can now boast that everything is ship shape. Everything is.
That's right. Everything is. It's all good in the hood down there.
It's all original parts. There's no aftermarket parts.
Nope.
So there you go. I want to have you on. You're like the first actual guest. Nick is the minion on some of the pilot episodes, and will be throughout the show when I just want to, really quickly get someone on the horn and then yell about Walmart and how it sucks. And I don't even know if I want my kid to ever step foot in one. But I want to have you on because, we have a pretty good rapport, I think.
Yeah. And I'm a mom. I've been a mom. I'm like a veteran mom. I have an almost 13-year-old. I've got some years of service in this business.
And even though you're not a father, and this is a podcast dedicated to parenting from a dad's perspective, I'm sure you can give some good advice. Also, you're kind of mannish in a good way.
I'm kind of man-ish.
Yeah.
You've met me in person, Andy. I don't look like a man.
Well, you like sports, you drink beer, you got a penis, all that other stuff.
I don't have a penis.
You're very blunt. You're like the least politically correct person in the world, and you're an educator.
Kinda. I mean, sure, we'll just go with that. I'm mannish. I'm just gonna go with. I'm gonna put that on Twitter. That's something like in my profile.
She's
mannish.
A man-eater. So the first one I want to get out of the way, because this is going to be a hot button topic for, I'm sure, many episodes down the line, is kids' names nowadays, and they're just so. I'm a very traditionalist when it comes to names. Like, daughter's name is Margaret. If it was a son, it would have been named Walter. As that's very strong, very powerful names that, you know, down the line, or as a kid, you can have cute names like Muggsy or, you know, Wally or Walt or something like that. But down the line, you know, once they're a CEO or a politician or a doctor, a respected member of society, you know, they can have names that aren't Kaizen or Katniss or Jax or DeAndre or something like that.
There's something to be said for that. My husband and I went kind of round and round trying to come up with a name for our son,
Mm-hmm.
because my husband wanted to go with, like, you know, Mike, Tom, Bob, Steve, you know, those just like solid.
And not even Michael
like,
or Thomas, just or Robert, Mike, Tom, Bob. There you go.
Right. I was like, and so I liked Caleb, which
Mm-hmm.
I really, really liked. And my husband said, that sounds like an Amish farmer. So we ended up with Justin because there weren't a lot of Justins. And I actually, as a teacher, it's hard because you have kids that are assholes as students and you don't want to name your kid like that kid's name.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to work around that. And I had a student who actually was hard ass when I taught middle school. Nobody liked this kid. He was headed for jail for sure. But that kid worked his ass off in my class and he got an A. Like, he earned it. And he nominated me for teacher of the year, like nobody else did.
Now, did he earn an A, or did he threaten to shank you with
Nope, he earned it. He earned it. He failed everything else, but he got an A in my class, and his name was Justin. And so that's kind of where that kind of came from. And with Madeline, I always liked Maddie, but I couldn't name her Madison because screw that. Like, that's a city in Wisconsin. So we went Madeline. Margaret is her middle name. That's after my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law's name is Margaret. So
that's a damn good middle name.
Yeah, so that's how we came up with that. But I get it. I mean, there's so many weird, and as a teacher, I see so many weird names. When I taught middle school, I had a 6th grader, and I am not even kidding you. Her name was Desirable.
That sounds like a stripper name. Desirable to the main stage.
If that is not setting your kid up for a career on the pole, I don't really know what else does.
Well, it's been a while since I read Freakonomics, but, you know, they had that whole famous chapter about kids named like Orangino and Lamagino. Orangelo, Lamagella. And then people want to name their kids something that they want their children to aspire to, like senator or lawyer. Or there's kids out there named doctor. Desirable. I don't know, man. I don't know.
It was awful. I was like, yeah. I mean, yeah.
All right, now, what is some of the worst names that you find lately, like kids that are coming up now?
You know, in my school, it's pretty like normal. So there's not like a lot of weird names. I have a Shalea and a Savea. They're sisters, which is kind of weird. Other than that, it's pretty normal.
Now, see, I have a lot of respect for, as much as it matters for, you know, name your kids whatever you want. But if it's a family name or an old like ethnic name, like the wife also kicked around ideas of, hey, maybe we should throw in some Korean as like a middle name. I'm like, I don't really care. I don't really identify as Korean. I identify as black, like that one lady in Spokane. But
me too.
There you go. But when you're just naming your kid like this new age crap, or you're taking a name and then just adding Y's to it for no reason, like I always rally against the Aidens, Jadens, and Cadens of the world, but you gotta stop, because it's never going to catch on. I know that all names come from somewhere. A lot of the names are still rooted like biblically or through religious ties, but I think 300 years from now, if the number one name is still Aiden, Aydyn, 2 Y's, because why not? I would advise my descendants to just kill themselves or move to Mars, which will be an option at that time.
Pretty soon. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of Cadens and Jadens. I will say that. We do have a lot of... There's probably not a single class that doesn't have a Caden in it.
The absolute worst is Kaizen. I've come across that one.
Oh, I've never seen that one.
My God. And you know that kid is going to be like the most white milquetoast, allergic to everything, anemic, 0 protein in the diet because the mom's all up on kale. The kid's eating gluten-free, even though he doesn't have celiac disease. The mom just thinks it's a good idea because she read it in Parenting Magazine. That That is
Well,
Kaizen.
and it's funny we're talking about names because my husband was just telling me that there's somebody new named, CEO or CFO or somebody at his company, and the dude's name is Timber, Timber, and his last name is Wolf. I'm not even kidding you. That's like his name. Like, what the hell are parents thinking? I mean, these people have to go through life. Do you understand?
That one's kind of badass, though. I'll give that guy a
No,
pass.
it's not. It is terrible.
I wonder what his
that's
sister's name.
awful.
Siberian, maybe?
She?
Like that really
Wolf? I don't know.
the really crappy vodka. Yeah, Siberian Wolf. You know it's good because it's got a wolf on the bottle. How can it be bad?
I don't know.
It's like
I don't drink
$9
vodka.
for a handle. Get out of here. That's college. Let's see. It's just
Timber Wolf.
Well, see, I thought about this recently too. You've never met an old Jason. You know?
My grandmother actually, for the longest time, would call my son Jason instead of Justin. But I had a kid who I went to school with in elementary school. His name was Jason Burgess, as a matter of fact, and he was such an asshole, and I hated that kid. And I can't name my kid a name of a kid that I hated, or either I taught that I hated, or that I experienced as a child hated. That he's like the only person I really know named Jason, other than the serial killer Jason.
Yes, yeah. I want to say that Jason is like the Caden of 20 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, because you never meet, hey, what are you doing this Saturday? Oh, we're going to go visit my grandpa Jason in the nursing home. You just had a hip replaced.
Well, there's a famous actor, Jason, what's his name?
Bateman?
I don't remember. He's old.
Stratham? Jason Stratham?
No. It's an older guy, but I don't remember.
Jason Williams, the former net center that killed his limo driver with a shotgun?
Nope.
Jason Williams, white chocolate, who played high school basketball with Randy Moss and then went on to start with the Kings. He was awesome.
Not familiar.
All right. Moving on from Jason, whenever I have guests on, this is going to be like the pretty much standard question. Spanking or no spanking?
No spanking.
What do you do to substitute discipline?
Now that they're older, it's a lot easier. It's like, give me your iPad, give me your Xbox, your that kind of thing. When they were little, it was timeouts. I mean, I was spanked as a kid. I got spanked with a belt. I mean, I just don't, for me, it was, and I can't say I never spanked my kids, because I spanked Justin one time. He was we're in a two-story house, and he was in his bedroom, and he was pushing out onto the screen and knocked the screen out, and he could have fallen out and hurt himself or died.
Was he listening to Freebird?
No, he was like 4. I don't know. It was I lost my mind. But anyway, for me, it makes no, like, if you tell your kid don't hit your sister and then you spank them, to me that's sending the wrong message. That's like, I'm bigger than you, so I can hit you. I don't know. I don't. Parents have to figure out their own way, and with kids, it's different. But for me, I personally, that's not something that I buy into. Like, I don't think spanking actually really works.
I was spanked as well, and the wife and I have discussed it. I do believe that there is a place for quote unquote spanking in today's modern politically correct world. If you touch your kid wrong in the face, Child Protective Services shows up, or unless you're in Texas, because then anything that Adrian Peterson does goes. But when they're acting up, and it has to be, it's very severe. I mean, it's not going to be anything as benign as nudging their other half brother off of a video game. Which, damn, it always comes back to Adrian Peterson, doesn't it? It really does. But say they're throwing a tantrum or being disrespectful to strangers in public, and then you drop the infamous line, "You just wait till we get home." And then you clearly explain to them this is the punishment for this infraction. If you keep continuing this behavior, you will continue to get this punishment. And it's never, there's never any weapons involved. Weapons. It's never to the face, the body, one little shot on the rump. And that's pretty much the punishment that I was raised with. And you very quickly learn to correct your behavior on certain issues, way more than a timeout. Because one of the things I love is you go to Target or like Trader Joe's, and then this mom has like 3 kids, and they're all acting a fool and knocking stuff off the shelves and getting in the way of other people and just overall being a nuisance. And then the mom's just like got this glazed over look. It's almost like she had a stroke because that she's been beaten down by life. But when they get home, she's gonna be like, all right, everybody on timeout. And then the kids will grow up thinking that that's okay behavior. That's okay to act. And that's why we have so many assholes and douchebags out there in the world now.
For me, and my son, Maddie really didn't throw any tantrums. Justin threw a big ass tantrum in Applebee's one day, and it was lunchtime. So it was like the business crowd. And I was there with a neighbor of mine, and he threw the biggest hissy fit. And I'm like, I left. I left money on the table. I'm like, we're done. We're not eating. We're done. You're going to act like this in public. I will take you home and you can sit in your room, and this is not happening. I've left carts full of groceries before. I'm just like, I'm not doing this. I'm not giving you whatever in the hell you want just so you stop throwing a tantrum. I've seen so many parents do that, and it doesn't work. You get kids that feel entitled, and they feel that they know exactly what they have to do to get what they want. And if they don't get it, then they throw this big hissy fit, and then it's you just keep feeding the beast, basically.
Ooh, is it the parents that when the kid's throwing a tantrum in public, they'll give him the cell phone, the iPad, the tablet, they'll order him his special favorite dessert or fizzy drink or whatever?
And that drives me crazy. And as a librarian, it drives me crazy because it's like, maybe give the kid a book. Maybe not I see.
That's the ultimate punishment.
To see so many. Stop it right now. Books are awesome.
Books are awesome, but to most kids nowadays, that would be the ultimate punishment.
And and I finally gave in and we bought our kids Kindles because I'm tired of buying books that just take up room. So we've started just downloading them from the public library, which is fantastic.
But Diane, what about the eye strain on the Kindle screen? How dare you abuse your children like that?
There
are people like that. They're the SSMs,
there are people like that.
The suburban soccer moms, and yes,
sure.
They can be men too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, but my kids are reading. My kids read all the time. When I see kids playing like on an iPad or something, and they could very well be reading something like on a reading app or something. But for the most part, no, they're just playing games. And when my kids were little, we brought books. We had like all the board books. I'm sure by now you've probably accumulated a fair amount of board books.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what we did. Or had little toys for them to play with. You don't put them on electronics. It frightens me that like a 9-month-old or a year-old can figure out how to swipe and do all of this stuff. It's not natural.
Yeah, I know. And plus, if you go in a public or you're riding a train anywhere and everyone's just looking, or a bus, and everyone's just looking out their phones, and they got the whole neck crane thing going on. Everyone's looking like a brontosaurus. I saw Jurassic World.
I haven't, but I think I'm going to because I saw the first Jurassic movie and then I didn't really see any of the others, but because I scare easily, but I love Chris Pratt, and I've heard from Howard, our friend Howard Sinker, that it's more campy than scary. So I think I could probably get on board with that.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, as a big fan of especially the first one. I was 9 when that came out, and so I was a huge Jurassic Park nerd growing up, a big dinosaur nerd, by the way, growing up as well. And I also had a Jurassic Park themed birthday party once, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, it did not ruin the franchise for me. Like second and third sequels kind of did a little bit, but it wasn't great, but it was very good. But a little back on track. So I'm in the newborn phase, and the wife is a human boob at the moment. She's noted that several times.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of in a weird interregnum where I'm not like fully essential to the operation. Like I'm running all the errands, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, but that stuff I'm pretty used to, so it's not that big of an inconvenience at all. And I'm just here to help. I'm the gopher. I'm the production assistant on this movie set. But once she starts pumping and the baby, is able to latch and then starts getting on the bottle, then I'm more essential to the operation, because then I can free her up. I can be the quote unquote human boob for a while. But right now it's kind of weird where she's telling me to, go get sleep. And even though she's getting up every hour and a half on the hour and a half to feed the little baby. So it's kind of weird. And I feel a little bad, but
Hey, your time will come.
Yeah.
Your time will, and for me, like I didn't breastfeed, so we did the formula right away. And so my husband is actually really, really good at being able to fall back asleep. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm up, I'm up. I can't. It's very hard. So there were several times where he had to take a couple of shifts where because I just couldn't. I would lay in bed and think, oh my God, I have to get to sleep. I have to get to sleep because I have to get up in 3 hours. And it was just. If Madeline had been born first, she would have been an only child, because she had reflux so bad that we were feeding her every hour and a half. And then we had to keep her upright for a half an hour so she didn't spit up. And that was for like 4 months. It was the ugliest 4 months of my life.
Well, how did you finally start getting to sleep? Is that where the Xanax came in? and the whiskey bad? Or?
No. Actually, we started letting her. So she slept in either the swing or in her car seat.
Luckily, you guys already had a swing hanging from the ceiling.
Right. It was just really easy to make that transition.
That was a sex swing joke. Everyone who didn't get that.
I got that.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You're in for parenting is so not for the weak. I mean, it is insane sometimes. It's heartbreaking. It's scary. It's amazing. There's nothing that can prepare you for it. I remember thinking, oh, I don't want my kids to get any older. I want them to stay 3 or 4 or whatever. But you figure out a way. You enjoy every phase. Now, right now with the middle schooler, that's, not so much. 7th grade pretty much is ugly. But he'll be an 8th grader soon. So, and I haven't killed him yet. So he'll probably make it to 8th grade.
Oh, hold on. Just backtracking real quick, the comment about you want the kids to stay the same age, that got me a little scared, because that's like the thinking of the moms who like drown their kids and just like put them in the car and just roll it into the lake.
Okay, so just stop right now, because I just finished
We're all in this together.
I just finished reading this book called Sharp Objects, which is written by Gillian Flynn, who wrote Gone Girl.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the movie or read the book.
It was pretty good. Yeah.
Okay, so the book Gone Girl is way worse than the movie, like way more of a mind F. Sharp Objects is even crazier. And there's a mother in there who basically killed one kid and is poisoning another one. So that's not my thing. I want my kids to grow up and give me grandchildren, because
you don't want to poison your kids.
No, that's the payoff for having children, is the grandkids. That's what you get for not killing your own children, is you get grandkids. And I've told both my children that they do owe me grandchildren. This is like, you owe me. So at some point I will have grandchildren.
Now, what's your beef with the suburban soccer mom? In the first couple episodes, my beef has been very clearly stated. How dare you talk to my child like that? But how about you, and what are some of your experiences?
They're kind of an ugly bunch. I mean, it's kind of this self-righteous, they like one up each other. I lived in one neighborhood where the moms were all stay-at-home moms, and all they did basically was sit around all day and gossip about each other. Like, they didn't go out and work volunteer in the schools or the church or anything like that. It's almost like Stepford. That's the best way that I can describe it. And I don't know. It's just, if you're not a part of that, you're an outsider. If you're not, I worked because, I mean, not that I have to work. I work because I choose to work. I love my job.
Coal mining.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a calling.
Yep, it is. Getting nice and dirty. That's what I like to do. I don't know. It's just, it's a mindset of we're better than, like, my kid only eats organic, blah, blah, blah. And, Joey's in, ballet and he does this and he does that and got into the best private school. And it's just, that's, I've never subscribed to that mindset. So it's really weird and foreign for me.
Now, you know what's awesome is that these women get together and then they talk about parenting is so difficult, but it's so worth it. Meanwhile, Consuela, the maid, and the wet nurse is raising all 3 kids.
Right, exactly.
What's up?
That's kind of like that's how I imagine Gwyneth Paltrow is as a mother. You know what I mean? I mean, she's just such a piece of work that she would be exactly, she has a nanny for every day of the week, and she probably never actually cooks anything for her child, but I don't know.
I think I've used this joke before, but have you ever seen the movie Contagion?
I have not.
So it stars Matt Damon, Gwyneth Paltrow, and blah, blah, blah. And Matt Damon actually plays the father in Minnesota, and he survives a bacterial like pandemic of like everyone dying, getting sick and dying. But I must say he's a very brave, very strong Minnesota man who survived an epidemic and also being married to Gwyneth Paltrow.
That's
who started the whole pandemic.
That says something about that person.
Oh, sorry, spoiler alert.
I was never going to see it anyway.
The movies came out in like 2011, so everyone get out of here. Di, what about how about the best story of like complete disaster of child rearing? Like, has the kid ever taken a dump in your mouth when you're changing his diaper? I don't mean now,
No.
like last week.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I think the grossest thing for me was Justin was, I don't know, a year and a half and maybe 2 years. And he was in his crib and he was always a really good napper. And so I went to get him up from his nap and I opened the door and all I can smell is shit, right? Like it's all I can smell. Like he's basically dug into his diaper and has like finger painted all over himself, all over the sheets, all over the wall, the crib, everywhere. And it was horrible, horrible. And my husband is not home. So I have to clean this up.
So it looked like DeAndre Hopkins' hotel room at the Combine?
Pretty much. Yeah, it was gross.
That's
it was
a throwback
very
reference.
Gross.
By the way, I'm a master at changing diapers. I never changed a diaper before I changed my daughter's first one. The one that comes out like looking like black tar, looking like OPEC. I could go sell it to the Saudis. But I am fantastic now. I'm really good.
Well, that's good. But
land speed record.
It's different when you have a boy, though. You always have to keep the boy covered up because I have been pissed on. Yeah. So it's a very different situation when it's a boy versus a girl. So just so you know, when baby number 2 comes along, if it's a boy, you always cover that junk up as you're changing the diaper.
And no circumcision because my boy will be half Asian and he needs all the help he can get.
That was awesome.
Now, see, that's what you got to do with the stereotypes. Like, don't mean to brag, but I'm not part of that stereotype. But you embrace it. Also, like the bad driving and being good at math and having bad eyesight, just embrace it. I actually do have bad eyesight, though.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yep.
I would work.
All right, so what about food? Since you're a librarian and educator, you see school lunches nowadays, and that seems to be another hot button topic issue. Like since I am now officially a dietary zealot since I watched one documentary, those types. But school lunches, man, like even when I was coming up, you could tell the food is good, except you could kind of tell it was complete garbage and not good for you at all.
Yeah, and they've actually come a really long way. I remember when I was teaching, my first teaching job was in a middle school, and I shit you not, there was the side, it was like, tostada, fiestada or whatever, and then the side item was caramel corn. Like that was literally, that was food. I mean, that's what they were feeding these kids.
Corn is a vegetable diet.
Right. But now it's like, especially where my kids go, they have, they do hummus and they do whole grains and they do very much healthier stuff than what I was ever fed. And
right,
actually my kids takes lunch from home. We make their lunches, especially my son, because he can't possibly eat enough at school to get, so we make them sandwiches and stuff at home. But it's much healthier now. Definitely much healthier.
Yeah, see, the fact that there's hummus now in our American schools shows that the terrorists have won.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I actually really love hummus, and it is nutritious if it's prepared with not a ton of sesame oil or tahini, and if kids can eat it, I mean that's perfectly fine. But the thing that I don't really like, and thing I always have a gripe with, is that there's parents that are a little on the rotund side, probably don't eat a ton of vegetables, always have bad eating habits, like I know some adults who have never eaten a vegetable in their life just because they didn't like it as a child, so therefore they never ate vegetables as an adult. And they're always eating this processed, greasy crap that is going to shorten their life by about 20 years. And then their kids come along, and they'll automatically dismiss like the good stuff, the fresh fruits, the vegetables, the lean proteins, because I don't like it, so you're not gonna like it. So little Jeffrey doesn't eat vegetables either. So then it's gonna just repeat the cycle, and Jeffrey's gonna end up being a 500-pound 18-year-old who's gonna live to be about 26, and he's already got a foot gone because of gout and diabetes.
No.
Yeah, the foot's coming off now.
Sorry.
He knows what's up.
Yeah. No, and it's hard because especially when kids are young, they are really hesitant to try new stuff.
Yep.
But for my kids, it's always whatever I'm making, you're having. Like
yes.
You don't like it, I'm not a short order cook. I'm not here to make you this, and that. You eat what we eat. And if it's really spicy, then I usually either keep it mild for them, and then when I serve ours, I make it spicier. Or now, and especially with my son, he's actually really starting to appreciate the spicier foods. So it just takes time. Like my daughter, I made shrimp and grits the other day, and my daughter loved it. So, and that's not something that I ever ate growing up. I was very much, my mom was very much a, we didn't eat seafood. We didn't eat fish. It was just, we never ate like game, like duck or anything like that. So as an adult, I tend to not like that stuff because I haven't had the exposure to it, but we're trying to make sure that our kids at least try it so that they can decide if they like it or not, rather than just saying, well, I didn't like it, so you're not going to like it.
Yeah, absolutely. And who knows, the kid's going to have different tastes than you. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And it's kind of funny. The wife and I were brainstorming the other day, and I was trying to think, there's not any food that I completely hate. Like I love all type of world cuisines, all type of local stuff, even like head cheese and Iowa loaf, because my grandparents always had that in the fridge, and they always had that, and it's not bad. I'm not gonna lie, it's not bad.
That's not something that I would even entertain thoughts of trying.
You gotta get the tongue in there. Come on.
There's no way. For me, I'm not a huge vegetable person.
Yeah.
But when we were more dedicated to the paleo thing, I would grind up or food process cauliflower, and we would use that as a rice substitute. And it actually, and I don't like cauliflower, but it actually was pretty good.
See, it's kind of weird. Speaking of parents not serving their kids like vegetables, so my dad and mom were like big meat and potatoes people, growing up, because that's how they were raised. And so growing up, vegetables was like a can of the French green beans, and then just heat that up, and then that's a vegetable.
Or corn. Or
corn. But I don't know, like 13 or 14, just really started getting into like the fresh vegetables, and then just like quick stir fry, because I also got into cooking at that time too. And like I'm like a huge vegetable fiend. Like I love green stuff, and it's don't get me wrong, I still love greasy ass shit too. But I probably eat more green vegetables than the average American. Well, definitely.
That's probably not saying a whole lot though, right?
Sick brag, bro.
Nice.
You got any deep fried cauliflower there, State Fair, Birdie?
They probably do.
Yeah.
On a stick.
On a stick. Now, we've kind of used up most of our time, but I'm 99% sure this isn't going to be a one-time deal on the Dad Mode podcast.
I would gladly come on and be a guest again.
Now, I don't know. Maybe we invited maybe on that. I don't know. We'll see if you're a jerk to me or not.
I'm never a jerk to you.
That's true. Now, do you have any like solid advice for me as I venture into the phase where I'm gonna be up bottle feeding this little bundle of joy going forward?
It's gonna suck. Okay,
Oh,
I'm just telling you. No, it's gonna suck. I had sleep deprivation so bad. There was one night that I had to run out to buy where Maddie was really fussy with different bottles and different nipples and stuff. And so I'd gone to Babies R Us, and I remember sitting at a stoplight thinking, if I could just get in a car accident, like not hurt, but just enough where they want to keep me for observation for one night, like one night of uninterrupted sleep sounded amazing. So there will be a point where it's going to suck, but you survive, and then you can look back and remember and laugh at the people who are then like you now going through it because you've already survived it. So it's not joyful. It sucks, Andy. That's all I got. It sucks, but you'll get through it.
Well, in fairness, that was a very poor plan, because if you would have gotten a car accident, they probably would have thought you'd been concussed, and then they wouldn't have let you sleep at all.
I wasn't thinking, Andy. You're incapable of thinking at that point. You're just trying to survive.
Now, sometimes I feel like parents, when they're talking about staying up all night with a colicky baby and changing diapers and like, oh, our lives are so terrible and stressful, but it's all worth it. It's almost like they're humble bragging. They're like trying to get recognition for how good of a parent they are and how much they're sacrificing. It's almost the equivalent of people who run a marathon and they're like, oh my God, it's so cathartic, dude. It's the best thing ever. It's kind of like that, you know?
I get it. For me, it wasn't. For me, it was just, it sucks, and I survived it, and it didn't make me a great parent. It made me a very tired parent, and that, certainly there are way worse things. People who've had it way worse than I have, sick children, or, you know what I mean? It's just, but in that moment when you're so tired that you could cry, you're so tired, there's not enough coffee in the world tired. It just sucks.
Oh, you went out drinking last night? Oh, cool. The children and I were in our home, and we did a Pinterest project. We made nightstand tables out of pallets. They cost $85 a piece, but we made them ourselves.
By our hands.
Wait,
blood, sweat, and tears.
Wait, if you made it yourself, shouldn't it be cheaper than buying it from IKEA? Those kind. Do you ever read Parenting Magazine?
I subscribed for a while when I had my first child, because you don't really have any idea what you're doing. By the time the second one comes around, you're like, oh, I've been through this. I got this. I know what this is going to be like. But it's pretty pretentious in a lot of ways.
No one has time to do all of their crap. And plus, I wish that there was a magazine called Real Parenting Magazine, where it's going to show like me and Muggsy in our underwear when she's 3, and then we're like wrestling UFC style. Because I can already tell that she's going to be a little rambunctious, beautiful little tomboy. Well,
she's your kid. She's going to be pretty fiery.
See, that should be in Real Parenting Magazine. Oh, damn it.
Why don't we do that? We need to start Real Parenting Magazine.
All right. So,
and I will do a column, like responding to like how they always have experts, chime in on different parenting topics. And I will just give my real parenting advice.
I like it. I already put in a trademark application for Dad Mode. I'll have to put one in for Real Parenting Magazine.
Got it. Yep. Love it.
Nice. All right. So anything to plug? Anything else coming up from you?
No, I'm just enjoying summer, and that's all I got. It's nice. It's nice to not be working right now.
Well, you know how you should really enjoy summer. You should support the Dad Mode podcast on Amazon. Just go to dadmodepod.com, and then there's a little Amazon sticker in the top left corner, or go to dadmodepod.com/support. Get our Amazon link there, and just click it and bookmark it, and then just order all the crap you're going to buy from Amazon anyway, like maybe like a giant pool floaty. That'd be kind of awesome. That'd be pretty sweet.
I do love Amazon. I'll give you that.
Or as much paleo recipe books or like 12 packs of coconut water or whatever crap you drink on that?
I don't drink coconut water. I don't like coconut.
You can order up a third child, Nassim.
No, no.
Very much appreciate your spicy cooking. No, he can be like 8.
2 is enough. Nope, 2 is plenty. More than 2, and you're outnumbered, Andy.
What if you could adopt like a 22-year-old who just entered his master's program at Columbia, or he just got into the Wharton School of Business? Would you adopt him?
No.
What?
Nope.
He'll make you rich.
That might be, but nope, 2 is enough.
Fine. But get that on Amazon. I'm not sure if you can order a 22-year-old who just got into Wharton on Amazon, but yeah, check it out.
If you can get it anywhere, you can get it through Amazon.
Boom. Dad Mode Pod show's available iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher. Follow us on Twitter at Dad Mode Pod, or myself personally at Andy Carlson Show. I tweet out a lot of nonsense. It's kind of fun. Website dadmodepod.com. But I'm out here. Hey, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Andy.
Be a man, be a father, go dad mode. And, they say that you're supposed to boil the binkies before you give them to the baby. I say, the kid has to build up some antibodies before, it goes into the real world. So, all right, see you next time.
Think the episode you just heard is worth $1? Well, send it our way. Visit dadmodepod.com/support to find out how. Be a man, be a father. Go dad mode. The music is created and produced by deeB. To hear more of his tracks, visit soundcloud.com/deeB.